Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I am excited about this week's topic. We are diving deeper into the concept of manifestation, and we're doing it from a yogic perspective through this perspective of yoga philosophy, which I absolutely love. And we're going to talk about the difference between that and popular manifestation that is more commonly talked about in manifestation circles. So before we get into all that, I just want to say this. If you're listening to this episode because you feel unsure about what you want, if the things that once worked for you just aren't quite fitting anymore, or if you sense that there's something trying to emerge in your life, but you can't quite name it yet, it's okay. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are actually in the exact right place that you're supposed to be. This is what midlife is all about. It's about this transition and going from who you are to who you want to become. And there's this in-between period, this season of discernment, where you're trying to figure out what that is. And this is the work that I do. This is what I do with women. I support spiritually curious midlife women who are ready to stop chasing what they should want and start listening for what they actually truly want. And together we create a space that clarifies your soul's desire, reconnects you with your intuition, and moves you forward in a way that feels aligned instead of forced. So if that resonates with you, I invite you to book a free clarity call through the link in my show notes or heading over to my website, katiefreenis.com. It's simply a conversation to see what's unfolding for you and whether working together feels like a good fit for 2026. All right, now on to the show. So today I want to get at the question, what do I really want? And we talked about this last week. We even did a little practice last week. So if you didn't listen to last week's episode, go ahead, go back and listen to that when you can. We did a little practice about trying to figure out what we really want. And it's actually a pretty hard question. What do I really want? It's simple, but most of us rarely slow down to actually ask that question of ourselves and then answer it honestly. Because the moment we ask it, we're flooded with the noise of culture. When we were younger, most likely our desires aligned with what culture said was important. We were in a phase prior to midlife. You're in a phase of life where you're accumulating, right? It's a very natural and normal phase of life. You're accumulating knowledge, you're accumulating experiences, you're accumulating things, you're accumulating job titles and children and and all of the things that culture reinforces and says is important. So when you were younger and you were desiring a, a partner or to have children or that next promotion or that next certification, or I can't think of the word, my midlife brain, when you graduate from something, degree, um, when you are desiring these things, or a home or a nice car or a vacation, those desires seemed normal and natural and in alignment with what culture says is important. But when we enter midlife, something shifts inside of us, and we start to understand that those things only ever brought us temporary satisfaction. And this is called the arrival fallacy. I've talked about it in previous episodes. It's the concept that we we will desire something and we think that by having it we will feel fulfilled forever, right? This will bring us that we will finally have reached the goalpost, and we will feel that we are enough, and we will feel that we are satisfied. But what we tend to find out is that we do feel that for a day, a week, a month, but then we start feeling that sense of lack and emptiness again. And so we have to go after something else. We have to, go after another desire so that we can fill that void that we're feeling. And so by midlife, we've done this enough that we tend to recognize the pattern. And even if we can't verbalize the pattern exactly as I've stated it, we do tend to feel like kind of what's the point? What's the point of going after that next promotion? Do I really want a bigger house? Like, do I really want to buy more stuff? Like, it's not really bringing me the joy and the peace and the meaning and the purpose. That's what I'm really desiring, right? Those are the things that I'm really desiring, but I'm not quite sure how to get at them. And so that is where yoga philosophy comes in. When we're talking today about asking the question, what do I really want? Yoga philosophy helps us to get to the root of what we really want, to get to our soul desire versus an ego desire. And those things that we were desiring when we were younger, those were more ego desire. And they were things that came from our ego. Today, we're going to talk about soul desire, what we desire from a soul level. And we're going to look at that through the lens of yogic philosophy. We are going to understand that there's a difference between manifesting at the universe and co-creating with the universe. So that's what yoga philosophy talks about, co-creating with the universe. And in order to co-create, the first thing that we have to understand is that we need to be in constant communication. This is a dialogue. So instead of shouting out to the world, to the universe, I want this. Instead, we're going to get quiet and we're going to listen and we're going to see what bubbles up from within us and what we hear come through us. Okay, so it's a two-way street, a two-way form of communication. And we're going to really listen. We're going to really listen. So I want to clear the air a little bit on, if desire is right or wrong. So in some spiritual circles, it is taught that we shouldn't have desire, that really our goal is to rise above desire on this spiritual path. But yoga philosophy does not say that and does not believe that. In yoga philosophy, desire, which is also called kama in Sanskrit, it's considered one of the four sacred aims of life. Desire is not something to eliminate, it's something to understand, right? It's something to investigate. It's something to shine a light on, to bring awareness to. And why? Why is that the case? Because desire is movement. It's life expressing itself through you. So we are manifestations of the creator, whatever way in which you want to think about the creator, whatever way feels good for you, the universe, consciousness, God, energy, any of these things. We are a manifestation that in that field of infinite possibilities created us. And we are that we are a product of their manifestation. And it created us so that it could experience life through us. It wants us to have desires so that we can have the full experience of being human. And desire it's like the universe is trying to experience itself through your particular form. And it's a signal, right? It's a way of the universe communicating with you. Your desire is one way that the universe communicates with you about how it wants you to show up and evolve in this life. It's an invitation to do what yoga philosophy, the whole goal of yoga philosophy is for you to become the fullest, most authentic, truest version of yourself. And desire is just an invitation to do that. It is a breadcrumb on this trail to this fullest, most expanded version of yourself. So how is that different from popular manifestation or modern manifestation? It's different because modern manifestation often treats desire as an instruction, right? Be specific, visualize what you want clearer, believe harder. And the underlying assumption is that if we want something strongly enough, then it must be right. And yoga disagrees with this because it it doesn't have that listening piece, right? That it's got a lot of what modern manifestation talks about, but that piece about listening for what comes bubbles up from within you, from your heart, and from what comes down, the downloads that come down from the universe into you, it misses that part. Yoga says that desire without discernment leads to suffering. So discernment is that listening piece. That's how we discern if a desire is soul-led or ego-based, right? Because not all desires are coming from the same place. And manifestation cultures ask, how do I get what I want, right? That's really basically what it's saying. I want a $250,000 salary. How do I get what I want? And yoga asks, who is the one that wants this? And what is the desire in service of? What is this desire in service of? Because yoga philosophy is all about service. It's all about bringing us into serving ourselves. I talk about this when I talk about dharma and our purpose, our soul's purpose. Our soul's purpose is in service to us, in service to those we love, and in service to the world around us. So when we're talking about the manifestation of a desire, we're going to talk about it, we're going to think about it with the same lens. How is this desire in service to myself, in service to those I love, and in service to the world around me? So in yoga philosophy, the ego is called ahamkara. And you don't need to remember that. You can use the word ego. I love to throw little Sanskrit words in there. You'll start, if I use them enough, trust me, if I use them enough, you'll start remembering them. I'm sure you know if you take yoga classes, I'm sure that you know more Sanskrit words than you realize because the teachers repeat them over and over. So you start to come to know them. But your ego is your I maker. Okay, that's what we call it, the I maker. It's your sense of separate self. And it's not, we need ego, okay? To live on this planet in human form, we need our ego. Without our ego, we wouldn't be careful when we were driving a car, right? Because we wouldn't care if we got into an accident. We wouldn't get anything done, right? We would sit around all day saying, I'm one with the universe and I don't need to get anything done. So our ego is important in this human form that we take. It's also limited. So our ego is very limited because it's rooted in fear and our own individual identity. And we can come to understand when we're coming from our ego when we think things like this. Once I finally have this thing, I will finally be okay, right? So that's kind of like that arrival fallacy I was talking about earlier. Once I finally make enough money, I'll be okay. Once I finally get the promotion, I'll be okay. Once I find a partner, I'll be okay, right? We've come to realize that that is absolutely untrue because we arrive there and we feel okay only for a limited period of time. And then we're back in that lack mentality. Ego desire is also a proving desire, right? It's a way that we're proving somehow that we are enough. If I get that promotion, I'm going to prove that I'm worthy in some way, right? That promotion, that job title means that I have sort of worth in this world, and I can prove it to you because I can show you my job title. Ego desires also satisfy this need to feel safe and secure and seen. Because the ego is afraid of its own death. The ego thinks if the ego dies, then you die. And so it's all about protecting your sense of self, your identity, because it's afraid that if you lose that you'll just disappear. And so it really wants to keep you safe and secure. How about the way the ego desires feel? They feel urgent. They feel very contracted, very tight and clamped down. They're very outcome focused. And they're really tied to how your life looks on the outside versus how you feel on the inside. So that's a really big distinction. How we'll go back to the job. If I have that job, people will think that I'm important. People will know I make a lot of money. People will think I'm very knowledgeable, right? And I can prove it because I have this job title. Versus, let's say you want the same job title, you want the same position, everything's the same. The ego desire would say all of those things. The soul desire would say, I will feel I'm on purpose. I'll feel I'm living my soul's purpose. I will feel I can have a positive impact. I will feel like I'm in flow. I will feel like I am joyful, excited, lit up, and I will bring that energy to the team that I'm working with, right? Can you see the difference in the ego desire versus the soul desire? And the truth is that ego desires manifest all the time. All the time. We know this, right? You've probably manifested an ego desire in your own life. And we often see people in the world manifesting things that we think that cannot be a soul desire, right? This person is not doing good in the world. So ego desires can manifest. But once you get it, you will still feel restless. You will still feel unsettled, unhappy, empty. You'll still feel in lack. And that's the universe giving you feedback, right? So nothing is good or bad here. I want to make that a distinction as well. You're not doing it right or doing it wrong. You're always, always just collecting data for yourself. That's all you're ever doing is collecting data. Whether you like something, you don't like something, you manifested it, you didn't manifest it, you manifested it and then it fell apart. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's all data. It's all the universe being in communication with you and trying to redirect you. It's like a GPS unit. If you are following directions on your GPS in your car and you miss a turn, and then the GPS, you see the little like spinning wheel and it says recalculating, and then it gives you new directions. That's what you're doing, right? When you have a desire and you go for it and it either manifests or it doesn't, and whatever that looks like, you get data, you get information, and now you're recalculating to try to get you back on track, to where your soul really wants to go, to this truest, most expanded, fullest version of yourself. So the soul desire in yoga is called a sankalpa. It's a soul level intention, and it is connected to your dharma, to your soul's purpose. Because really everything that leads you towards this fullest, most authentic, truest, expanded version of yourself is part of your dharma. So a soul desire is a way of the universe communicating you and leading you towards your soul's purpose, towards your dharma in your life. So this sankalpa, what does it feel like, this soul level intention or desire? It's quieter. It's why we have to get quiet. It's why we have to be in communication with the universe, because it doesn't show up in that loud, in-your-face way, the way that ego-based desires do. It is more of a whisper. It's a feeling. It's a noticing of the same thing over and over again. It's a questioning, a quiet questioning. These soul-based desires are gentle. And so we really need to tap in to listen to them. Okay, so it's quieter. It's expansive rather than tight. So we talked about the ego desire feeling contracted and tight. When you think about a soul-based desire, one that's in alignment for you, right? So we have to make sure we are clear on that. A soul-based desire that is in alignment for you and your soul, it should feel expansive. You should feel light. You should feel spacious. You'll feel maybe a sense of joy, maybe a little fluttering in your chest or your stomach. It will feel good in your body. And it'll be more about the desire itself will be more about how you want to be than what you want to have. So as I mentioned, that job, you know, when I talked about the ego-based desire for that job, right? I was talking about all the things I would have. I'd have the title, I'd have the money, I'd have the respect, et cetera, et cetera. When I talked about the soul level desire of having that job, I was talking about all about feelings, feeling in flow, feeling on purpose, feeling alive, vibrantly alive and energetic, right? So it's about the feeling, and that's how you know that it's a soul-based desire. And a soul desire isn't about fixing yourself. It's about expressing yourself. So it's not about there's something wrong with me, and so I need to have this thing so that I can fix myself. It's about expanding into that fuller version of yourself. There is nothing wrong with you here and in this moment. You are perfect exactly as you are. I promise you, you are perfect. But that doesn't mean that you don't have room to grow, because growing never stops. We'll never stop growing if we choose to, right? If we decide that that's the path that we want. And with each new level of growth, we achieve greater ease, greater peace, greater alignment, greater satisfaction, right? So it's not that you're wrong and we need to fix you and make you right. It's about accepting and deeply understanding that you are perfect as you are, but that you can step into more ease, peace, and alignment in your life, and that feels good, right? Um, Yoga asks us to become neutral or indifferent. I'm sorry, yoga doesn't ask us to become neutral or indifferent. I'm so sorry. Big distinction there. It asks us to let our desire mature from that sense of grasping, that sense of I need to have this, and if I don't have this, then I won't be okay, into this I know I'm okay already, but I am open and willing to receive guidance so that I can expand. And the body knows the difference every single time. The body is infinitely more wise than the mind. And so whenever we're questioning, whenever we're not sure, is this an ego desire or is this a soul desire? Go to your body. Bring that desire to mind, really visualize it in your mind as if you had it, and then feel into your body. Does it feel contracted or tight? Or does it feel spacious and open? How is your breath? Are your breaths shallow? Are they kind of catchy, where like as you take a breath, it almost feels like the breath is being caught on something? Or does the breath feel really deep and slow and like yummy? It's like, oh, this is beautiful breath. It's just flowing so smoothly in and out of my lungs. Do you feel restlessness or a quiet sense of just ease and knowingness, right? That peaceful sense of ease and knowingness. Are you grasping and clinging? Do you have this like urgency? Does it feel urgent? You need to have it now. Or does it just feel surrendered, where on some deeper level, you know that this or something better is going to show up for you in your life? When I decided to leave the bedside as a nurse, this is the process that I had to go through to get to where I am now. There was a lot that had to be worked through. But one of the things that I had to ask myself was, is this desire to become a podcast host and to coach women and to show up so publicly on social media sites and to give big talks, right, in front of lots of people, was this an ego-based desire? Did I just want notoriety? Did I want to be seen? Did I want to like prove to the world how much I had grown and what I know and like how wise I am? Or was this a soul-based desire, a desire to fulfill my purpose, to feel vibrantly alive, to serve anyone who came in contact with anything that was mine, whether it be the podcast, my coaching, my speaking, my teaching, right? I had to really ask myself those questions over and over to gain clarity on whether this was a soul desire or a ego-based desire. Obviously, I'm here. So it was a soul-based desire, and I have not regretted it. I have not looked back, not one single second. This is the joy of my life to do what I do, beyond my family, of course. But I know that my soul wants me to be here doing what I'm doing. I know universal consciousness wants me to be here doing what I'm doing. And I don't always know how it's going to turn out or what the next step is going to be on this journey, but I am in constant communication and listening and talking to the universe, and there's a deep faith and surrender there. And so that's what the soul-based desire feels like. It feels like a knowing, a quiet, secure knowing that isn't, it's not a knowing that you're going to get exactly what you want, or that you know every single step in the process toward getting what you want, or that you will even get what you think you want, right? What you think your soul's desire is. It's a knowing that for right now in this moment, you are in the right place for your soul. And it's very peaceful, it's very calm. Um, okay, so let's talk about desire as a communication with the universe. Here's the shift that yoga invites. We are part of an ongoing conversation with life itself. You and I are a part of life. In previous episodes, I talked about how consciousness, God, we call it Brahman in yoga, is like the ocean. And each of us is a wave. It's a wave in the ocean. We came from the ocean. We rise up so that we become these individual beings that are still attached and part of the ocean. And then we collapse back down into that which we came from, right? Back into the ocean. And so we're never really separate. We're still always connected. We just for a time come here to this earth and become unique fields of energy that are meant to create so that the ocean, the universe, Brahman, God can experience itself through you. And yoga assumes that this intelligence is moving through all things. It's moving through you. It's moving through every part of nature. It's moving through all the animals. It's moving through conversations that you're having, things that you're listening to, books that you're reading, all the creative things that are out there. Anything anyone has created, universal consciousness is moving through it. So anything the earth has created or nature has created, and anything a human has created, universal consciousness is moving through it. And we are not separate from it. We are an expression of it. And your desires arise where your individual consciousness meets that universal consciousness, where, at the base of the wave, if you're thinking about that ocean analogy, right? As the wave rises up, that's your individual consciousness, but there's that connection that's always maintained. A wave is never separated, right? That base of the wave, that is where your individual consciousness meets universal consciousness, and it's where desire comes from, where it stems from. And we are not here to control outcomes. We're here to respond to what is trying to emerge through us. And if we take aligned action, we release attachment, and we allow life to meet us, that's when we co-create with the universe. Because we are not creating alone, we're creating with the universe. So our job is to get into alignment. And we're going to talk about what that means more next episode, next week. But when we get into alignment with our soul's desire, that's when life can really flow through us. Okay, so let's do a little guided inquiry here. Bring your mind to something you believe you want right now. If you listen to last week's episode, you can pick something from one of the categories that we talked about. If not, just the first thing that pops into your mind. Don't worry if it's ego-based or if it's soul-based, just something that pops into your mind that you are desiring right now for yourself. Now ask yourself, what do I believe that this will give me? What do I believe this will give me? Again, just let it come, just let it flow. You don't have to be too serious about this. Just see what comes to mind. And now ask yourself, what feeling am I actually desiring? So, what feeling is underneath the thing that you are desiring to manifest? And maybe many feelings pop up, right? You might come up with, a handful or more of feelings that would arrive, that you think would arrive for you if you were able to manifest this desire. But try to pick one, the one that stands out for you, the one that feels like it's highlighted. And then ask yourself, is this desire asking me to acquire something or to become something? And let that answer arrive slowly. Acquire something or become something? Right? Is it somehow going to help you on this journey towards becoming your most authentic, aligned, expanded, truest version of yourself? Or will it just be another notch on your bedpost? That old expression, another, box that you can check on your list of haves. When we get clear, not only on what we desire, but why we desire it, right? And really the why is so much more important than the what. Our action becomes a lot simpler, a lot more clear, a lot more aligned. And life begins to cooperate in ways that the ego could never plan for. So, and again, we're going to talk about this aligned action a lot more next week. So if you're feeling a little confused about what I mean by that, just let it percolate for the next week. We're going to come back. I'm going to do a deep dive on what aligned action means. You are not here to eliminate your desire. You're here to understand it. Because when you listen deeply, desire stops being something that you chase and it becomes something that guides you home. And that's really what I want. That's really the message that I want to send today is, when you're asking yourself, what do I really want? The answer will always be something that guides you home, something that makes you feel deeply connected to yourself, to something greater than you, to the world, to nature, right? That will always be the answer. How that answer comes through, what that desire is, that will be different for everyone, right? And it'll be different for you in different phases and stages of your life. But it will always, if it is a soul-based desire, it will always be something that brings you home to yourself. And that's why a soul-based desire gives you those feelings of peace and equanimity, of purpose, of love and joy. That's why it feels spacious and open. That's why your body relaxes, right? It's like your body takes a full body exhale and relaxes when you think about the desire, because it's leading you home to yourself. All right. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that it gave you more clarity on how to tell the difference between an ego-based desire versus a soul-based desire, and what one is asking of you versus what the other is asking of you. Take some time this week, maybe go back to that list from last week, the exercise that we did last week, and look at those desires and see which ones you think are ego-based versus soul-based, right? Because we can just scratch off the list any of those ego-based desires. And maybe those ego-based desires they start morphing a little bit, right? You make small tweaks to them and they become soul-based desires. So just play, just have fun, right? This is not only co-creating with the universe and communication it's playing with the universe, right? We are in this playful interaction and communication from this infinite, powerful energy that surrounds us and runs through us. So enjoy it, have fun with it. Don't take it so seriously. You could have a desire, a manifestation of desire that is simply about play, about manifesting something that makes you feel more playful. And why would you want to feel more playful? Because that brings a sense of lightness and joy into your life. And then that spreads to your children or to your partner or to the people you work with. And how infectious and beautiful is that? So try not to take it all that seriously. Have fun with it. And I would love to know what comes through for you. As always, please reach out to me, email, Instagram, Substack, all the things. If you are not signed up for my newsletter, I do want to let you know that we are migrating over to Substack. So my newsletters will come through Substack now. I will put the link in the show notes. I highly recommend that you sign up. You don't need to have a Substack account, I'll tell you that. The emails will come directly to your inbox, just like any other emails I've sent. They will just also be linked to my Substack account. So if you wanted to stay in closer touch with me, read the things that I'm writing every single day over there, then you can also log on and create a Substack account. But if you don't want that and you just want the email to come to your inbox, you can also have that. And I will put the link in the show notes. If something in today's episode stirred a recognition in you, if a desire you've been carrying suddenly felt clearer, quieter, more honest, then that's worth listening to. And you don't have to navigate this alone. I work with women who are in this in-between space. These old identities are falling away and new ones haven't fully formed yet. And through coaching, reflection, guided spiritual practices, I help them uncover what's true for them now, to trust what they hear and to take aligned steps forward. And if you feel called to do those things in your own life, then book a free clarity call. Use the link in my show notes. There's no pressure, just an invitation to explore what's next. Thank you for being here, my friends. Thank you for listening deeply. I love you all so much. Namaste.